Welcome back to Undisputed. Last night, a replay of Brett Favre's first game against the Packers as a Viking was aired. Trust me, I remember this one. Favre ended up winning the game against Aaron Rodgers and the Pack. But Shannon, this game got us thinking, who is the better quarterback in their prime? Are you going to go with Favre or Rodgers here?
Skip, really, is this, this is for real question. We're really doing this.
Yeah.
It's Aaron Rodgers, and it's not close. I'm talking about like Usain Bolt winning the Beijing Olympics, not close like that, even though he looked back and glanced at him and beat his chest. Skip, Aaron Rodgers, at his absolute best, played the quarterback position as well as anybody in the history of the game. Because if you think about it, Skip, you look at Brett Favre, he leads he has the most interceptions in NFL history. He only have like a 1.5 touchdown to INT ratio, where Aaron Rodgers is 4.5 to 1. Brett Favre has only had one season in which he's been a starter in which he didn't throw double-figure interceptions. And that was in 2009, his first year in Minnesota. If I'm not mistaken, he went 33-8. Aaron Rodgers in all these years has only had one season in which he's thrown double-digit interceptions. His ability to protect the football and produce points and touchdowns at a high level is what separates him, Skip. Yes, they both could run. Now, Brett would run a little bit more than Aaron. He was more of a little take risk. He would dive head first, where Aaron Rodgers is basically going to get down or get out of bounds. Brett Favre would take guys on. Brett Favre would also put the ball in harm's way. When we played him, Skip, we would all, the defensive coordinator, Mike Shanahan, all my coaches would always say, Brett's going to make plays for two teams, his and ours. We just need to make sure when he presents that chance for us, we come down with the football, or he gets reckless in the pocket and he's holding it like a loaf of bread. We slap it out, we get on the ball. Skip, it's not close. Look, Brett was unbelievable. And what he was able to do when he got there with my brother from 92 to 94, Skip, my brother is ever grateful for what Brett and Mike Holmgren was able to do. But, Skip, it's not close. It's not even close. You're not going to find any general managers other than Skip Bayless that plays one on Undisputed that thinks Brett Favre is better than Aaron Rodgers. And it's not even close, and you know it. You need to stop this foolishness.
I haven't even started any foolishness, and no foolishness is about to come out of my mouth because I watched Brett Favre from the start, and I watched him to the finish, and I've watched Aaron Rodgers all too much during his prime, which he is leaving as we speak. Aaron Rodgers was better as a young quarterback, and he was better as much better as an older quarterback than Aaron Rodgers ever thought about being. And I was grateful that I had the privilege to watch that 2009 game from start to finish last night on ESPN, because I got to see Brett Favre at almost 40 years of age, and he was just lighting it up. He was throwing rockets all over the field. Zing, zing, zing. I was astounded by the velocity and the accuracy at almost 40 years of age. And in that season, you actually gave him one more interception than he deserved. He was 33 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. I thought he deserved to win MVP that year over Peyton. Peyton edged him out. Okay, whatever. The Vikings went 12-4, and you know what happened at the end of the year. They were in the NFC Championship game in the toughest building to win in the National Football League, obviously in the Superdome in New Orleans, and Bounty Gate happened. It was a bounty bowl. It took illegal inducements for the Saints to hit Brett Favre so hard that Peter King reported after the game he couldn't even get up off the training table to walk to the bus because he took so much punishment in that football game that obviously went to overtime. And you know and I know, Brett never quite recovered physically from the beating he took in that year's NFC Championship game. But that was his age 40 year, sensational. And I'll remind you, at age 26, 27, and 28, all he did was win 3 straight MVPs. 3 straight. Wow. And I will remind you, he was 13-11 in the playoffs, and he did get to 2 Super Bowls. He won 1. He lost to you guys. Give you that. But he still got to 2. Aaron got to 1 Super Bowl ages ago, eons ago, a decade ago. 10 years ago, Aaron Rodgers got to his 1 and only Super Bowl. I'll give you this. He won it. But since that 4-0 run as the road wildcard team against all odds to win that Super Bowl, Aaron Rodgers is 6-7 in the postseason. And 5 of those 6 wins were pretty lucky because they came against Joe Webb as quarterback, as the substitute quarterback for the Vikings, and then Kirk Cousins when he was on the downside in Washington, and then the Dez caught it game at Lambeau. Cowboys should have won that game. And speaking of the Cowboys should have won, the Mason Crossbar game, playoff game at Jerry World following the 2016 season. And then there was the Odell boat trip game in which he took the receivers to South Beach to get ready for a playoff game the next Sunday on the frozen tundra at Lambeau Field. And you know what happened? Odell dropped 2 early passes from Eli in that game. And it was kind of a mismatch and kind of really lucky for Aaron Rodgers, the home quarterback, in that one. And by the way, one of the losses was the worst playoff game that Aaron ever played, and that was after the 2014 season when he stunk it up at Seattle. In that game, they also lost. They lost that one in overtime.
Hurt. Stop.
But he was not hurt. Shannon Sharpe.
You know the man had a pulled calf, Skip.
He was out there.
See, there you go.
Pulled calf. He was fine. He was moving all over the place, especially in the championship game. So the point is, I keep trying to convince you or open your eyes, and you're so dug in that you're just clinging to your foolish pride. Aaron Rodgers has been in decline for 4 years. Just look it up. QBR has fallen each of the last 4 years. Completion percentage has fallen each of the last 4 years. What more do you need to see? He's going on, this is his 37-year-old season. And he's already looking like he's close to finish to me. And I think Green Bay is in the hunt for Jordan Love. They made the call to the Texas Tech coach that used to coach him, obviously, at Utah State, because they're already looking for the Aaron Rodgers replacement. Well, he's going on 37, so don't get, Brett Favre, I just showed you, we got to see it right there before your very eyes on ESPN last night. He's still lighting it up at age 40. So even on the backside of careers, Brett Favre was way better than Aaron Rodgers has been for his last 4 years, 33, 4, 5, and 6. I'm sorry, Shannon, you got to give this one up.
No, if you mention that, you keep telling about the Bounty Bowl, but can you tell the people how the game ended? What transpired? What did Brett Favre do at the end of the game in which he's done so many times before? He turned the ball over. You remember? Hold on. And also, the Green Bay Packers had never lost a home playoff game until what happened, Skip Bayless? Who watch did that happen on? All those great Packers teams had never lost a home game. And then something happened. What happened, Skip? Whose watch did that happen on? Michael Vick, Dan Reeves, and the Atlanta Falcons went to Lambeau Field, frigid Lambeau Field. Go ahead. I'll let you refute it.
No, it was Michael Vick. He was magic. It was the Michael Vick experience, and he pulled it off. He was extraordinary. You know it, and I know it. It took Michael Vick's magic to pull that off at Lambeau Field. I'm still in awe that Michael pulled that off.
First of all, there's no Six Flags in Green Bay. Six Flags is in Atlanta. Six Flags is in Atlanta. They normally put Six Flags in warm weather communities because they want people to be outside for an extended periods of time. Now, you keep telling me this guy's the GOAT. Now, what happened? Skip, every year that he won the MVP, he threw at least 13 interceptions. In Aaron Rodgers' MVP season, he ain't got 13 combined. And you gonna talk, come on, Skip.
Aaron Rodgers.
And you remember Philadelphia? You do remember Philly, Skip. And what did Brett Favre do in Philly, Skip? What did he do? Brian Dawkins fair caught the ball. Thank you. You remember that?
Okay, but Shannon, I got to go back. I got to refute your point about the NFC Championship game, the Bounty Bowl. Do you remember what Brad Childress did coming out of the timeout on third down? He had too many men on the field coming out of a timeout. That's on the coach, because that put them in third and longer, where then Brett Favre had to go for it and risk it and gamble it. And he is the rambling gambler. And he tried something he should not have tried, and he threw a pick. I do not believe he would have thrown a pick if they had sent 11 men onto the field out of the timeout to start with, because I think it went from like 3rd and 7 to 3rd and 12 off the penalty. That's on Brett Childress.
So let me get this right. So if you get a penalty on third down, instead of, maybe getting an incomplete and punting the football, you throw an interception? And so is that your answer? So he could not have done anything else other than throw a pick. So that's what that was about. No, come on, Skip. You got to protect the football because you go ahead.
Didn't the Saints go on to win the Super Bowl, to beat Peyton in the Super Bowl, Drew Brees over Peyton? That was a loaded football team, and Brett Favre took him to the wire in overtime. He was he threw for 300-plus yards in the game. He had another age 40 spectacular, one for the mantle kind of a game, one that you remember forever, except he did make that one bad throw, but it was out of desperation to try to make something happen on third and really long that it cost him, just the way it cost Peyton throwing the interception that he threw in the fourth quarter against the Saints in the Super Bowl.
Skip, but and Aaron Rodgers